Good morning, everyone. It is Brenda here for Stamplicity, and welcome to Fun Friday. All right, today it's going to be a quick little video. At least I think it's going to be a quick little video. And I wanted to show you how to make a really cute mini album using dies that you might have in your stash. All right, so this stemmed from an idea from a good friend, and I'm really behind in the um, memory keeping on trips that Craig and I have taken. So I thought I would start with the most recent trip that we took, which was in Mexico, and I made this really fantastic album, and I'm so happy about it. And it was funny because I was showing Craig and he's like, "Oh my God, this is so amazing," right? Just to rehash all those wonderful memories we had and all the adventures we had. So I thought it'd be a really great idea to show you kind of the process of this to create a really fun little mini album. For those that love to do mini albums, we know that sometimes the albums can take up a lot of space. And but I love this kind of album here because it doesn't take up a little space. I can display it nicely on my table, on my shelves, and then I can tuck it away after the fact. All right. So here is my little album. Now it is made from dies. All right. So and I'm going to show you different ways. Now this was our Mexican trip that we just took, and I've used a variety of different dies and kind of made them into tags to showcase all our memories. All right. So and I used a variety, all right, because if you know me, I take a lot of pictures when I'm away, and I love to capture, everything, the sky, the foliage, the wildlife, the fun memories that we had, the pool. I capture everything. So having little pictures like this is great. This is all about the resort we were at. um they get a little real estate in the album, but they're not going to take away from the real ones that the memories that we had. So you can see it's just a variety of lovely die cuts that I've made into tags, showcasing all the wonderful memories we had. So, and honestly, I just decorated with minimal embellishments. I used a die cut and kept in the same color palette as everything with florals and little palm trees. And that is that. All right. So I'm going to show you how to create this lovely little album. And I'm just going to show you the process of it and what my next project is for something very similar to this. All right. So I just connected this all with a large binder ring here. And it's just a great little album. So let's show the process. All right. So let me put that to the side. And for that one there, I used just a kind of a variety of dies from Uniquely Creative and Spellbinders. Now, what it stemmed from was this die. And we've showcased this die over and over again because it's such a great die. I love the sizing of this one. I love that it's a tag, and I love the stitching on it. So this is kind of where this idea stemmed from. And I used this, all right? Then I wanted to mix and match, all right? So then I just kind of looked at what I had in my stash, and then I wanted to keep that stitching detail on everything and be consistent on it. So then I had this die set. There's two die sets in here. Again, from Uniquely Creative. Just a coincidence that they are all from Uniquely Creative. But because of the stitching on these ones here, it kind of really went well with this one. So I've used this kind of skinnier tag die. It is a layering die. The outside is scalloped and the inside it's got the stitching. So I just used the inside one. And then this one here, so that one was called the stitched, no, that one is called the, I don't know what that one's called because I don't have that on here. Anyways, we can help you out with getting that one. So I don't know why I don't have the name of it. But then I also combined it with this one, which we've seen and I've used so many times as well. And this is the stitched rounded corner from Uniquely Creative. This is a 3x4, and it's meant to cut those 3x4s out of those pattern papers that have them. Again, you have that lovely scalloped edge, but the inside one has the stitching. So it worked with the complementing the tag die here. So I've used those ones. And then I wanted to, I had a package. And honestly, this package, the paper that I used for this album was from Making Memories. All right. And if you've been in this industry, in this world of paper arts for a while, you know that that's really old. But I held on to this paper collection because it did have a kind of a travel theme, tropical theme. And I've held on to this paper for years. I swear it's probably 15 years old. And then that paper collection had these kind of fabric tags and titles. And they also had um, these a package of tags as well, and they were arched. So the whole reason why then I went and looked at my stash, I looked for arch dies just to mimic this shape that was in this package that I had. All right, so off I went to see what I had, and this is not the right one, but I found in my collection a um, stitched arch. And I believe it was from Uniquely Creative as well, but I grabbed the wrong one. I thought it was Spellbinders, but I just grabbed that one. I was for Uniquely Creative because it had the stitching as well. And again, it was a layered die, so I was able to create different arches. And again, everything has that stitching on there to keep it consistent. So we had this one here, and then I just used the smaller tag. I've used this one, and then the stitched arch tag from Uniquely Creative. It was just a coincidence they were all from Uniquely Creative. All right, so those are kind of where I started from. So then what I wanted to first to create some stability for each of my pages, I just cut all the different sizes of tags I was going to create out of plain white cardstock. Now this is Neenah a Solar white cardstock. This is 110 pound. I wanted some substance to this. You're not going to see it, so it really doesn't matter what color you cut that out. I just cut it out of white because I have lots of white cardstock, and I just cut these. Now these are going to be covered, all right, because I just wanted to have some stability to each of these pages because it's going to be manhandled, all right? So people are going to be looking at it. So I didn't want the pages to, bend or crumple or anything like that. I wanted stability. So I cut all the different sizes of my tags in that white cardstock. Then I went and found my pattern paper, and then I did the same thing. So for every tag, I needed 2 pattern paper tags, all right? So again, everything's gonna be consistent with the stitching. So this then would layer onto here, and then the other one would layer on the back. So now I have a really fantastic um, thick page that is beautifully decorated with that pattern paper. All right, so I sandwiched that cardstock piece in between, and that's what's going to give these pages stability. Now, it seems like a lot of work doing that, but if you do all your die cutting first, all right, so if you have 14 tags, you're going to need 28 complementary pieces to go front and back. All right, so that's what I did. So then what my end result was I would have all these fun tags that are double sided. All right, all of these have that white cardstock in the center. All right, I just glued them on. Then some of these were already a tag shape. All right, so they already had the hole in there. For ones that did not have the hole, like this one, which was this square one, I just used my Crop-A-Dile, punched a hole, and I just lined it up with one that had a hole, so I would get all these, the spacing properly. I would just do that and punch that. And then I had a die that made reinforcers that then I reinforced it. And that's how I used all my little scraps of pattern paper for the reinforcers. And I did front and back. So these pages are really sturdy, and they're going to be able to handle the manhandling as people go through it. And that is how I created that. All right. So I'm going, there's a little picture of one of my foods that did not make the cut for the album. So that is how I created this. So I want you to look at your dies a little bit differently because, you have some great nesting dies. And I always say, those layering nesting dies are an investment piece because you're going to be able to use them over and over again. So just a few that I picked out, which I thought would make good ones. Of course, my favorite, this Spellbinders Nested Postage label and tag. That's a postcard. How cool would that be to create an album with that? All right. So again, you can do your pages. You have all the layers on there that you can mix and match. And I think that would make a really fun little mini album. All right, something like the arches would be another one as well. I mean, because you have the variety of sizes, you can have different pages and all that, and it just becomes this cute little compact album. All right, so look at your dies in a different way. One die that we just got in, and I was so excited when I got this die because I wanted to make this new kind of little positive affirmation album for myself. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to use this die. So I wanted to kind of just show you now kind of where I'm going to go with this and how I'm going to do this. So this came out from the new Elizabeth Craft Designs Rest and Relaxation that just like landed last week. And this is a layered tag stamp and die set. Now, for those that are taking Michelle's memory keeping class quarter number 2, this is coming in your kit. All right. So bonus idea for this. All right. But for those that maybe not taking that class, no worries. You can get this a la carte. Now, you're saying, where's the die? The die is here. Now, this is called Layered Tags, Stamp, and Die Set. So first of all, I love this because it's got background. All right. So you can mix and match on your pattern papers, or you could choose not to use pattern papers, but it also has the dotted lines for journaling and this cool little ledger. All right, so you're gonna be able to do backgrounds. But what I love about this is this die set. All right, so again, this is a great tag die, and it has layering pieces on there. So you're gonna have the outside tag. All right, so that is what I have trimmed out of black here. All right, so again, I am focusing on a little mini album that I'm going to put on a binder ring. I want stability to this. So I have a piece of black heavyweight cardstock for my middle piece. All right, this die also has a layering piece on there. So this one here, instead of cutting the same size to layer over top of this, I can now do my layering piece and frame that in. All right, so the pattern papers I'm using is an old collection from 49 Market that I've been hoarding. All right, hoarding because I love this collection and I have all the bits and bobs for it. So this is what I'm going to be using for my positive affirmation little mini album for myself. So what I did is I just took some of the pattern papers and now I just cut that inner tag and now I can frame them on, and that's going to be one of my pages on here. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this together so I don't lose them. And the other thing that this die has, which I think is really, really cool, is they have some other layering pieces for the tops of the tags. All right, so let me just get this on and let me talk about this. All right, now you will notice that there is no hole in this tag. All right, now there's a reason for that because sometimes you don't want a hole in your tag. Sometimes these are just tuckable pieces in an album or a journal. So maybe you don't want the holes in there. There is a die that will do the holes, but I will just use my Crop-A-Dile for that. All right, so let me just get both pieces on here. And you'll notice I'm using liquid glue because that allows me to shimmy to get it in perfect placement. All right, so because it's 49 Market paper and I use that heavy black cardstock, that is a nice stable tag and double-sided. All right, so there's one page of my positive affirmation little album I'm going to make. All right, and I will continue that. And this one here will be all the same sizes. I'm not going to mix and match. They're all going to be the same size pages for this. Now, here are those other overlays in here, which I love. All right, I'm just going to wreck the packaging because this has to go in a magnet sheet anyways. So they have these lovely little pieces that you can, they're the same width and size as the outer one. So now you can go ahead and glue that on. But guess what? If you just glue the outer edges, that becomes a pocket. So now you have tuckable pages. All right, so there's that bracket style. We've got this one here, which is a film strip. And again, oh, this one goes on the inside. So again, this one that works on the inside. So I guess there's ones that are working on the inside and outside. That's even better because sometimes you may not want it on the outside. All right. Again, you can create a pocket for those tuckable elements. All right. This one's got all the arrows, which to me, I think would be, if you're doing a travel album, that would be very, very cool. All right. So you could put that on there. You've got the larger one that you can actually cut out and back up. So you can have a two-tone effect on this one. You've also got the inside version of this one, and this one will fit over top of here for that two-tone effect if you want, or you can use it separately. So lots of different options to do this tag. That's why I was very excited about this tag die. All right. In addition, you're going to have your hole placement dies here if you want to use them. I said, you know, it's just as easy to make holes with your crocodile or a hole punch, but there's that reinforcer die. All right. So that's what I use for the reinforcers on here, but that's going to come with that. So then you can use your scraps to do that. All right. So now that I'm not going to continue on, I just wanted to kind of show you how you can create this fun little mini album. And honestly, it does not take a lot. This is a great way of using scraps of paper that coordinate with one another. You don't need a lot of embellishments, all right? So for this, I really wanted the pictures to showcase it, and the pattern paper spoke for itself. But for this here, like I use minimal, all right? So like I said, I had little elements that match the paper. You'll see the fabric flowers there, but I combined them with a die cut flower, which is actually from Elizabeth Craft, the Summer Vibes from the same collection. That's where the little florals and the leaves came from. And I just went consistently throughout and added florals here and there. And I used all the scrap papers from this collection. All right. So there was hardly any waste, which was great. And then there was a palm tree die from Uniquely Creative I used. And then there was a little palm leaf. Let me find you a better one there. A little palm leaf there. This one here, and that came from that same Elizabeth Craft one. And that's it. Like that's all I used for this embellishments. All right. So, but made a really fantastic album. And you know, and just the last little addition might be a cute little ribbons or such on here. But I have this sitting on our TV stand, and it's just a really nice display on this great trip that we had. So, all right. So that is today's Fun Friday. A really quick and short one, but hopefully that will inspire you to look at your dies a little bit differently, to create these fun little mini albums, easy to make, and just a really great little display piece of those special memories. All right, that is it for me, everyone. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to continue working on my positive affirmation little album here. It will be a work in progress, but I promise you, I will show you it when it is completed. It may be about 4 months from now. This is something I will work on continually and adding to it with positive affirmations. I might include some pictures in there as well, but I can't wait to continue working on this using this this kind of method of making a wonderful little tag album. All right, everyone. So again, if for those that may be wanting to do this one here, Jam Pack Die, layered tags, stamp and die set from Elizabeth Craft Designs. And I just love it because of the versatility of that tag die. But I also love this these elements here that's going to create some really fantastic backgrounds and add journaling and such. So, all right. So everyone, have yourself a wonderful Friday. And we'll be back next week on Fun Friday at 9:30. Until then, everyone, have yourself a creative week. Bye.